All right, guys, welcome to day 3. All right, we're going to do quadratic modeling today. And just a little heads up, we will have a test on Thursday this week. We'll do quadratic modeling today and tomorrow. We'll review all quadratics. This includes any type of factoring, completing the square, quadratic formula, all that good stuff. And then we will do also word problems in the vertex form. So we'll be doing all that on your test on Friday. On Thursday, it'll be either 15 or 20 multiple choice questions on Castle Learning again, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we have a word problem, projectiles, and usually they give you the equation with the word problem, which is nice. The one thing that's a little bit more challenging with word problems with this stuff is your graph isn't what you're used to. Sometimes you need to do the graph, sometimes you don't. For this one, I'm going to show you using the graph. So it says a projectile that are fired vertically into the air have the heights that are quadratic functions over time. A projectile is fired from the top of a roof. Its height in feet above ground after t seconds is given by the function right there. ht equals, that means y, equals negative 16 parentheses t minus 2 squared plus 144. So you're dealing with something that's being shot. So if you're dealing with something that's being shot, you know that your domain or your domain has got to be positive numbers. Okay. Also, what you're going to know is that your range has to be positive numbers. You can't take an arrow that you shoot and have negative time. That's impossible. I'm going to shoot this arrow negative 5 seconds. Doesn't make any sense. Also, you can't shoot something or throw something that's going to go through the ground. So I'm not going to throw a ball and then all of a sudden when it hits the ground, it goes through the ground. I mean, what am I, Superman? That's not possible. So your domain and your range have to be positive numbers. Okay, so let's take a look. This is old school. Go to your y equals, all right, negative 16 parentheses. Instead of t, we use x. X minus 2 squared plus 144. You remember your rules with solving quadratics? Your top and bottom y have to be the same. Well, ironically enough, I got it right here. So 0, 0. But remember, our domain has to be positive numbers. So my domain is going to be from 0 to 5. It's the positive x values, 0 to 5. And now remember, your range is, domain is left to right, range is up or down. So how low does it go? 0. Can't get less than 0. That's impossible. You can't throw something through the ground. So it's going to go 0. And then how high does it go? To 144. Okay, now using these points from 0 to 5, I'm going to plot my graph. So I got 0, 80. So 60, 70, 80. 1 is 128. So 10, 28. 2 is 144, so 30, 40 right there. Back to 128, back to 80, and then 5 is 0. So my quadratic looks like that. All right, so you're not going to draw a full quadratic. So usually with quadratic word problems, you don't always draw a perfect quadratic, and that's okay. All right, but some good questions that they're going to ask, like letter B. Determine algebraically the time when the ball hits the ground. So when it hits the ground, your height or your y is 0 because the ground is 0. So all I'm going to do, it says algebraically, here's my equation. T minus 2 squared plus 144. And I plug in 0. Now I know by looking at the graph that the answer is going to be 5. But because it says algebraically, I can't just say time is equals 5. So I got to solve this. All right. I would complete the square. So I do negative 144. So I got negative 144 equals negative 16 t minus 2 squared. Got to get rid of this negative 16. So I divide by negative 16. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So negative 144 divided by negative 16 is 9. I'm going to come over here. 9 equals t minus 2 squared. How do we get rid of that square? Take the square root. Now remember, time has to be positive. You can't have negative time. Okay, so I can't make this -3. Even though my answers are plus and -3, in the context of this problem, I can't use -3, because even when I add 2 there, I'm going to get -1. You can't have that. So I leave it like that. I add 2 to both sides. T equals 5 seconds. All right. Next part, how many feet does the projectile drop between 2 and 4? So if I go back to my table on my graph, at 2, my table is 144. So I'm going to do 144. And at 4, my table is 80. So how far does it drop? I just subtract the 2. And that's 64. What is the maximum height? Well, if you look at my table, my maximum height is 144. So the maximum height is, the max is 144. Now, how could I find that on the, just by looking at the equation? Well, if I'm in vertex form, that's my max, or that's my min. All right, knowing that this is going down because we got -16 here, that's gonna be my max. But I can do that just by looking at that. But if you don't know that, no big deal, man. Just go right into your calculator and look for your max and your min, and you're done. So it says, do you see the answer in the vertex form of the parabola? Yes. It is the outside number being added or subtracted. Oh, you can't see what I just wrote, so sorry, my fault. I didn't realize every word on the screen. So yeah, it is the outside number being added or subtracted. That's what it says. Do you see the answer in vertex form? All right, we'll do one more together. The roller coaster with Greg. Now, using this graph right here is optional. You don't need to use it. If you want to use it, by all means, use it. So it says here, Greg's at the top of the roller coaster, the distance D of the car travel. Here's your formula. Where T is in seconds, it takes the car to travel. How many seconds will it take Greg to reach the ground? Okay, we just did this. Reaching the ground is when your distance is 0. So I got 144 minus 16 squared. All right, this is a dot. So I have 12 plus 4t, 12 minus 4t. T-charted. 12 plus 4t equals 0. 12 minus 4t equals 0. Minus 12 to both sides. 4t is -12. Divide by 4. T is -3. Well, can't use that one, right? Can't have negative time. Minus 12 to both sides. -4t equals -12. Divide by -4. T equals 3. So here it is, 3 seconds. Done. Now, this problem doesn't say that you need to do an algebraic solution like this one said. Right? This said algebraically. This didn't say that. So if you wanted to go right to your, your calculator and just go y equals, plug it in, 144 minus 16x squared. All right, and then find where your t is 0, or where your y is 0, and then that your x value is 3. You could have done that. So you could just plug that into your calculator and go x equals 3, or t equals 3. All right, and you didn't have to do all this work. But if it says algebraic solution, you have to do this work. If it doesn't, you can use the graph and see where it hits the x-axis, or you can just use the table. What I recommend on like a Regents question, if this was a part 2, 3, or 4, you would copy this table on your sheet here, just so that you show that's your work that you're showing. All right. So that's it for today. Finish the worksheet. The other 3 pages we did one together. You got 3 more pages on your own. I'll be posting the answers in a few minutes, or you should see the answers in a few minutes. Just 2 things. One, we have a test on Thursday. It's going to be 15 or 20 questions. I haven't decided. I think most of them, if not all of them, will be multiple choice. Again, I haven't decided that yet, but I will in the next couple of days. And The only other new thing is we're going to do daily attendance. So you should see on your Google Classroom today, maybe in like a couple minutes, that there's a questionnaire. The questionnaire says, did you do your class? Did you do the worksheet today? Yes or no. Did you watch the video today? Yes or no. Did you check your solutions? Yes or no. Fill that out every day. That's going to be your classwork grade. Might be worth 5%, 10% of your grade, but as long as you're doing it, you're checking off yeses on them, you're going to get your 5 or 10 points for your fourth quarter. All right, now lets me know that you guys are doing your work, and also keeps it checking, and then you have your test. So at least it's not just your test is your only grades. All right, if you do have any questions, please email me at robert.mcconi@riverhead.net or robert.mcconi@g.riverhead.net. I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.